Welcome back, everyone. It's week 11 action in college football, and I'm excited to have my two partners in crime, or at least in sports betting circles, Dr. Chuck and Jesse Schule joining me, and I'm going to get things started right away here. 3:30 p.m. It's a Pac-12 matchup. USC 4-5 on the season, 3-4 in conference. California is the host, 3-6, 2-4. USC favored by just 1.5 with an over under of 53. And guys, I'm not going to delay it. I'm on the Southern California Trojans. I like this game quite a bit. You're going to be supported by a really tremendous betting angle here. You're going to bet against home underdogs using the money line after a game with a turnover margin of +3 or better, meaning that home dog outdid the opponent in the previous week, having 3 fewer turnovers than their opponent. So this system or angle has gone 79% winners over the last 10 seasons on a very active 133 and 36 moneyline record. That's almost 100 games over 500, folks. So the dime better following this over the last 10 seasons would have made $61,000 over the course of the 10 years. If he was doing it over the last 3 years, 23-9, and would have made $4,700. So not that much during that time period. And I know that's not right. It's actually $22,000 over that time period. 7-2 this year, and a profit of $3,000 for that money line angle. So another supporting issue here is USC 4 consecutive ATS losses, losing 3 of the last 4, are getting now undervalued to California, who I haven't thought is a good team all year. And all I have to do is look back to the previous game: 24 rushes, 28 rushing yards in a 10-3 loss to Arizona. I'll say it again, Arizona. They scored 3 points. So I think USC will play a whole lot better this week, coming off a dreadful, not really dreadful loss. They just simply didn't cover against Arizona State, losing 31-16. And lastly, my predictive models say that USC has a very high probability of scoring 28 or more points. And in those games, they're 3-2 this year, 11-6 the past 3 seasons, and 139-75 against the number over the last 20 not NFL, college football seasons. Wow. Okay, the pick is on USC, and now we're going to go to Jesse here with a matchup in Week 11, 3:30 p.m. Iowa State 6-3 against Texas Tech, 5-4, 2-4 in the Big 12. Iowa State comes in as a road favorite of 10.5 points with a total of 58.5. Jesse, where is the best bet to make on this game?
Well, John, you guys know the drill. I like myself a home dog coming off a bye week. Of course, last week I had New Mexico State plus 18.5 points. I said that the bye week would allow them to be more prepared, draw up a solid game plan against Utah State. I wasn't wrong. They did come out and open up a 10-point lead. They did lead at halftime, but unfortunately they ended up blowing it through a comedy of errors. And in hindsight, I am aware that some of these smaller schools have inferior athletes, inferior conditioning, and poor second halves are not that surprising. But they nonetheless they should have been able to hang on to that lead, or at least not lose by as many as they did. But it's interesting to note that my last 2 losses on this show, both of those games were winning big at halftime. I had Northwestern as a 20-plus point underdog against Michigan. They were losing by just 3 at halftime, and then New Mexico State winning outright as an 18.5-point dog at halftime. So I might be tempted to take Texas Tech here at halftime, but the line's only 5.5, not great value. Texas Tech's a lot closer to Iowa State in skill, conditioning, the size of the program, the quality of the coaching staff and recruits. So I'm just going to go with the 10.5 here. interesting about Texas Tech is they started the season winning three of their first four games. Quarterback Tyler Shugg was actually leading the Big 12 in passing, and he suffered an injury to his collarbone. He's back at practice this week in shoulder pads. I expect him to go against his old buddy Brock Purdy. Him and Brock Purdy trained together in the offseason. They know each other quite well. They've been playing against each other in high school. In fact, in one state championship game, Purdy's team won 63-60 in overtime. Another game in high school between these two quarterbacks, Purdy's team won 65-63. Purdy's always got the better of Shug, and I'm sure that's not lost with Shug. He's looking for a revenge spot here, and they have a history of playing close games. I'm going to take the points with Texas Tech.
I like it, Jesse. I like it a lot here. There's also a money line system that supports this play, guys, that has averaged a plus 170 underdog over the last 10 seasons. And I'm going to try to pull it up here real quick. You're going to play against that road team, Iowa State, after that team has won 4 of the last 5 games. It's a good team, 60 to 80% win percentage. Playing with a team with a winning record. That's all there is to it. And there's a whole lot more money line systems too, like a road team that has won 5 out of 6 of the last 7 in weeks 10 through 13 of the college football season. Only 51%, but averaging 106 plus 165 underdog. It has made the dime better almost $70,000 over that 5 seasons. So that's a really good pick there, Jesse. I'm on board with you. And now we're going to go over to Dr. Chuck. And Dr. Chuck has a game that he likes quite a bit in the Sun Belt, I believe. ESPN Plus is the televisor of this game. Arkansas State, 1 win, 8 losses against University of Louisiana-Monroe, 4-5, 2-4 in the Sun Belt. Dr. Chuck, ULM is minus 3-point road favorite. Over under is 66.5 points. So, Dr. Chuck, tell us where the best bet is in this matchup.
Well, a lot of this stuff has to do with, I preach about this each week, things build upon each other as the weeks move along, and I've been pretty bullish on this Monroe team since the jump. Just to note about this matchup here in Louisiana this weekend against Arkansas State. Arkansas State's 1-8. They're 0-5 in Group B, as they call it in the Fun Belt, and it's not been a good season. We heard John Ryan talk about their yards per point, and it's pretty abysmal. And they're going to be on the road here. And just to note, as far as what we do with overreaction during the season and not reacting enough, Arkansas State had a win total on the season projection of 3.5, which is, as we do at the beginning of the year, we can bet over under on win totals. They were 3.5. That was juiced to the over at almost 1-2, like a minus 200 if you were to take them to win 4 games. They're 1-8. It's almost decided. They do have 3 games left. They can win out and cash that. Louisiana-Monroe, on the other hand, despite the fact that Terry Bowden was named their head coach, despite the fact that one win is a very minimal amount of wins in college football, they were listed at 1.5. That was juiced to the over at plus 125 by the time the season closed. Monroe comes into this already with 4 wins. I suppose the Vegas market was expecting them to only beat Deion's Jackson State team, which they did, but then they beat Troy at home outright. They beat Liberty at home outright, and then they handled South Alabama the same way. Covering those spreads in those 3 wins was about plus 100 if you add those together. This team is not fake. This is a real team. They have a real coach. And if you're going to tell me that you're going to give me Louisiana-Monroe in the second weekend of November on their home field and tell me that they're an even team with the Red Wolves of Arkansas State in a neutral field, then I'm going to tell you that you're crazy. And I would lay 7 here. I would probably lay more than that. It just doesn't make any sense. Louisiana-Monroe has been dominant at home, and you've got to slough off some of those point totals they've given up on the road, because that's not what's going to happen here. Arkansas State's going to have a harder time scoring than you'd think, and Monroe wins this, I think, just in what isn't ever a game from the first quarter on.
Well, there you have it, guys. Another solid pick from Dr. Chuck. And now we're going to move on to, surprise, surprise, the Big Ten. It seems like I have a little bit of a passion for the Big Ten. I guess that's because I win more in the Big Ten, I guess, than the other conferences. Not sure on that. But I noticed one game you guys are going to definitely agree with me on, and it's the under in the Minnesota-Iowa game. Now, this game has a big, big impact on the Big Ten standings in the West. The Big Ten has two teams now in the West Division that are ranked. Finally, they're 19th and 20th with Iowa, and Wisconsin being 20th. Minnesota is still not getting any respect, even though they have a 6-3 record. If they beat Iowa, it really is in their hands to get to play the winner of three teams that are 8-1 in the East: Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State. Penn State's ranked 23rd. So there's 6 teams in the Big Ten that are ranked in this week's AP poll. And I'm not going to talk about the college football playoff poll. And if you watch previous shows, you know why. So in this matchup, we have an under naturally with any total of 37 points in the Big Ten hits at a very, very high level. Moreover, the matchup, Iowa, 4th in scoring defense nationally, 15.7. Minnesota, don't underestimate them ever, 14th, allowing 18.3 points per game. And yards per play, Iowa's defense, 4.2, ranks number 4th. And not far behind, but ranks 30th, Minnesota at 4.9. Keep in mind, there's 130 teams nationally in Division I. What I like better is the red zone scoring defense of Minnesota. I think this game is going to go under. My models say it's going to go under. Ferentz is 32-15 under, making 17 units. Facing teams that average 32 or more possession minutes per game. And also, when Iowa gains 250 to 300 total yards in a game, the under is 2-0 this year. And 31-14 over the last 10 seasons. Minnesota, when they allow 250 to 300 total yards, the under over the last 10 seasons is 29-6. A perfect 5-0 over the last 3 seasons. This play is definitely going under. Period. So, guys, I think we just ripped off, about 4 quality picks, and I think when we do 4 picks, we do pretty darn good historically here on this show. So maybe that's a good omen. But guys, make sure you get back to watch the NFL show. There'll be the same 3 talking heads here that are, at least 2 of the 3 are brilliant minds. So for Dr. Chuck, Jesse, myself, and the Predictive Playbook, and SportsMemo.com, WagerTalk.com, and everybody else that supports us out there, may all the wins be yours. Thanks for watching, guys.